Almost there. Chapter 22, Naveen. The energy pulsating throughout Congo Square captured everything that Naveen loved about New Orleans. The music, the people, the vibrancy of this place, and all who lived there was like nothing he'd ever encountered. Could he honestly consider leaving now? Maybe it wasn't the best time to entertain such a question, not when standing across from a carefree, dare he say silly, Tiana as she tried to teach him the current dance moves. As much as he loved his home, it was no match for Tiana's radiance. If given the choice between being here with her or returning to his home in Maldonia, he would choose Tiana every single time. "Are you paying attention?" she asked him. "Hold on," Naveen said. "You're going too fast. Now, what am I supposed to do with my legs?" "It goes like this," she said. She bent her knees and pivoted her toes in and out. Then she executed alternating kicks in time with the music, all while counting the steps and trying to direct him to follow along. Naveen over-exaggerated the move in hopes of eliciting a certain response from her. She rewarded him by throwing her head back and letting out a peal of that magical laugh of hers. Yes, that was the response he was looking for. Goodness, but he loved her laugh. "I'm not sure that Charleston is your thing," Tiana said, wiping tears of mirth from her eyes. No, I think I've got it," Naveen said. This time he actually did try to get it right, thinking he would impress her with how quickly he was able to catch on to the dance. But he tipped too far to the side with one of his kicks and nearly fell to the ground. "Whoa," Tiana said as she reached for him. "I'm fine," Naveen raised his hands. "Just embarrassingly clumsy all of a sudden." So much for impressing her. But maybe this was better. Her lyrical mirth wrapped around him, cocooning him like a warm, comforting blanket. "Oh my," Tiana said, slapping her head to her forehead. "I can't recall the last time I laughed so much." "It is a beautiful sound." "I, thank you," she said. Their eyes met, and his heart felt as if it would beat out of his chest. "Akidanza." Naveen had a hard time breathing. The sight of Tiana's eyes staring at him with such feeling had stolen all the air from his lungs. Suddenly it felt as if no one else was in the park, as if this one moment in time was made for the two of them alone. "Tiana, Naveen began, but the words caught in his throat. He knew what he felt, but he couldn't figure out how to express it, because he didn't understand it. He couldn't explain this pull he had toward her, as if they were destined for each other. "You can't talk that way. She will think you're loose in the head." But what was the way she made him feel? He didn't recognize what he was when he was around her. Or maybe he did. A version of himself that felt both new and familiar somehow. "Tiana, I was hoping—" "What is that?" she said suddenly, her eyes going wide. "Oh, I'm trying to find the words—" "No," she pointed over his shoulder. "That." That was when Naveen heard it, a low hum reverberating in the air, a mixture of the murmurs from the picnic-goers and something else, something that sounded like buzzing. He turned to where Tiana pointed. A dark cloud seemed to be shifting through the greenish fog, swaying like a pendulum through the air. The closer it got to them, the louder the hum began. "What is that?" Naveen repeated her question. The buzz grew louder, along the yells and screams from the crowd at the far end of the square. Something hit his neck. He slapped the spot. When he removed his hand, there was a black and red smear in his palm. "This looks like some kind of—" "Mosquitoes!" someone shouted. Chaos ensued as the thick black cloud descended on them, but it wasn't a cloud, it was a swarm of insects. Monstrous mosquitoes, at least 10 times the normal size, twisted around like a twister, attacking the crowd with stinging bites. "Run!" Naveen shouted. He provided cover for Tiana, shielding her from the torrent of bugs and dodging the people who scattered around the square, seeking shelter from the invasion. Grown men fell to the ground as the enormous insects ambushed them, jabbing at them with their extra-long beaks. He and Tiana raced over to where Mr. James, Miss Eudora, and Charlotte all huddled underneath the blankets where they'd just picnicked. Mr. James lifted the edge, motioning for Tiana and Naveen to join. Naveen remained huddled close to Tiana, doing all he could to protect her as the stinging insects attacked his back, even through the fabric of his shirt. It felt as if someone were firing pellets into his skin. each bite a hot, searing assault upon his flesh. Finally, he and Tiana crawled under the large blanket, the five of them all huddled together as screams from the crowd rent the air. "Are you okay?" Tiana asked. Naveen grimaced. It's just a few bites," he said, through clenched teeth. "I've never seen such big mosquitoes in my life," Charlotte said. "Neither have I," Naveen said. He lifted his arm to reveal ghastly welts forming on his skin. "I do not think bugs were capable of this." "Is this what you call a few bites?" Tiana cried. She reached for his arm, but he instinctively pulled away. Naveen immediately cursed himself. Tiana was offering to tend to his wounds. Why not let her? He held his forearm up to her and tried not to yelp as she inspected the carnage. She gently wiped away the blood with her thumb, showing no concern for her dress, which was now stained. "Where did these mosquitoes come from?" Charlotte cried. "It's not even summertime." "You're right, Charlotte," Miss Eudora said. "These are early." "Much too early," Tiana said. Naveen was not sure he'd ever seen such venom in her eyes. "And I think I know who brought 'em here,"